Right now on Upfront.
Historic flooding.
It's extraordinary.
Governor Tony Evers declaring a state of emergency. Federal assistance now requested. Neighborhoods decimated.
We had to walk up to wastewater to safety.
Now the cleanup and fallout.
We have disaster teams that are out in the community right now.
Our guest this Sunday, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley and Wisconsin Emergency Management Administrator Greg Engel. Then uncounted ballot pushback.
The city and the clerk's office have taken this matter seriously.
The city of Madison questioning the power of the Wisconsin Elections Commission and forcing the city to make changes after nearly 200 absentee ballots went uncounted in November. Now Madison's city attorney and acting clerk Mike Haas with us, responding to the commission's latest action Friday. And dramatic spike.
Insurance company didn't come through like I thought they would.
The rise in flood insurance claims and payouts in Wisconsin, the new reports, and the warning to local, state, and federal lawmakers.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today marks 1 week since historic flooding ravaged southeast Wisconsin. Now Governor Evers asking for federal assistance. A state of emergency now declared.
The hardest hit areas in Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Washington counties. More than 14 inches of rain in parts of Milwaukee County alone. The governor touring the damage along with Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley.
I'll tell you guys are always there.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your support.
How's it going?
Democratic Governor Tony Evers touring a Red Cross shelter in Milwaukee Thursday, now requesting federal assistance and a disaster declaration from President Donald Trump. I think there's some frustration, and you may have heard this well, whether it be local, state, federal government, just in terms of how long this may take.
Yeah.
What is your message to Wisconsinites with this process?
We're pushing the president and FEMA in Washington, D.C. to do this as quickly as possible. And we should be able to do this quickly, but I don't control. I have some say so in what happens here in the state. In the federal level, I don't. And so we're going to be pushing and having our legislators pushing, and hopefully we'll get there. A bipartisan group of Wisconsin's delegation pushing for the federal declaration. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin, Representative Gwen Moore, and Republican Brian Stile all signing onto this letter. And Republican Congressman Scott Fitzgerald asking the same.
How's things looking so far?
Terrible. I'm going to show you the pictures right now.
The Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley in some of the hardest hit neighborhoods.
So how are you holding up?
Not good. I just broke down. Insurance company didn't come through like I thought they would.
Okay.
And my basement still, I'm trying to get help.
Historic flooding here. Crews assessing the damage in an effort to secure those federal resources.
What kind of damage did you see today or throughout the weekend?
Right now, as you can see, my car is sitting up or trying to dry out because it was horrible.
Crowley with us Thursday. Is this what we're seeing?
This is exactly what we're seeing. A lot of people don't have access to dumpsters, may not be able to bring all of their stuff to city locations, and being here in West Allis, they don't have any drop-off locations. And so what City of West Allis has done is put dumpsters out to allow the community members to have direct access. And so I know in the city of Milwaukee, doing this will allow for bulk cleanup to happen within the next couple of weeks, but this is what we're seeing everywhere.
Did anything fail on the county's level, or was this just massive amounts of rain that couldn't keep up?
I think a lot of people are looking for, who to blame when it comes down to this, but let's be very clear that this was a weather event that happens every 1,000 years. And so, I don't think that there was a way for us to prepare for this, but this does warrant conversations about what we can do moving forward related to our infrastructure to reduce this level of flooding.
Are those conversations you would anticipate having with the county board?
Oh, not just with the county board, but when you think about like MMSD and things of that nature, other local municipalities, I think all of us have to put our head together to figure out what we need to do moving forward. One-on-one
in this impacted West Allis neighborhood as the county completes its own initial assessment of the damage.
And the process starts with us going around, getting as many of our community members to report the damage. We're asking everybody to call 211 or visit the online form to report that damage. Please be patient with us as we go through this process. And so as we go through this, we're going to assess that damage. And it is my hope by the end of this week that we have a preliminary report to give to FEMA, and then they'll do analysis of our preliminary report, and that's to be on the ground to then assess the damage themselves. And hopefully that'll be happening within the next couple of days.
You're pushing hard for folks to call 211 if they have damage. Have you found that people aren't calling in yet?
We know that some people are and some people haven't, because, there are folks who may have the funds and may have the wherewithal to actually do some of the cleanup themselves, and there are others who don't. So whether you have insurance or don't have insurance, we need everybody to call 211. And so we've been pushing that. As of yesterday morning, I know there were over 4,500 calls related to damage, and we had about 1,500 properties that were already being assessed. And so we're going into not only residential neighborhoods, we're going to businesses and looking at our public spaces to really assess the amount of damage. And I do know that we have about $20 million in damage in public spaces already, and I truly believe that we've reached that threshold for a federal declaration to be made.
What happens if that federal assistance doesn't come?
It's going to be very difficult. I will tell you that, here in Milwaukee County, we're going to continue to work with the Wisconsin Emergency Management, working with Governor Evers to try to tap into the state emergency fund to deliver for our community. But it's going to be very difficult for us to rebuild back to the place where we were without any federal assistance.
As we sit here almost a week later, has the state done enough to help the county?
Oh, absolutely. We have partners on the ground. I had a chance to tour the Emergency Operations Center yesterday in the North Shore area in Bayside, and you have state officials, you have local officials, you have folks from all over, the Wisconsin Incident Management Team who are here on the ground, who travels all across the entire country to help with devastation such as the ones that we have seen.
I can't ignore the fact that you've said you plan to announce you're going to run for governor. I'm curious how this experience will shape that bid, and if you would do anything different if you were governor right now.
I haven't even been thinking about this run right now. Well, the most important thing is delivering for the folks right here within Milwaukee County. And so as I look, forward to my, what the possibilities are when I enter this race, it's really going to be focused on, kind of extension of what Governor Evers has been able to do for us right now. Governor Evers has been doing great, and I want to, make sure that folks understand that he's been here. And I think that he's going to be coming here quite often to see what this damage looks like and seeing how this process goes on moving forward. But, the governor has done everything that he can. I'm really proud and appreciate his helping hand.
Greg Engel is the Wisconsin Emergency Management Administrator appointed to the post by Governor Tony Evers in 2022. He joins us now from Madison. Greg, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So the governor has now requested FEMA assistance based off of your initial review of the damage here in southeast Wisconsin. Can you take us inside that review? What did you find?
So we have been doing damage assessments in Milwaukee and the other areas since Tuesday, since early this week. And what we're finding is that there is significant damage. We have assessed, as of yesterday, over 2,000 homes in Milwaukee. And we're finding that a significant number of them are either have major damage or are destroyed. So we're collecting all that information, working in really close partnership with the City of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. Yesterday we had over 100 damage assessment personnel out working in that city. We're also collecting information from the other counties and the other cities elsewhere in Milwaukee. So we're finding that there is a significant amount of damage, and we believe that we have enough to request a preliminary damage assessment from FEMA, which we're going to be doing, and we're going to get FEMA to help us validate that data.
We've seen damage all across southeast Wisconsin. You mentioned a number of different counties. Is Milwaukee and Milwaukee County the most severely impacted here?
That's what we're finding, yes.
So you mentioned just the numbers with Milwaukee, 2,000 homes in Milwaukee either damaged or destroyed. Do you have any initial damage estimates in terms of dollar amounts?
We don't have dollar amounts at this time. That's something that we'll be working on as we get further into the process.
And how critical is that FEMA assistance right now?
I think it's going to be critical because we don't have a similar program here in the state. So I think we need that assistance. So we want to get that assistance to our families and folks here in Wisconsin. But I will say that, it's not immediate. Once we put that request in, it can take up several weeks for that major disaster declaration to get approved. So we're working as quickly as we can, but it will take some time.
Have you gotten any indication from the White House, FEMA, or Homeland Security on what might be granted?
No, but our FEMA Region 5 team out of Chicago. They support us, and they've been very, very supportive. They have committed to working with us on this preliminary damage assessment. So we expect to get, we expect they're going to be very supportive. But I cannot guarantee that we'll get approved for a disaster declaration.
Yeah, what happens if President Donald Trump does not declare that federal disaster declaration for Southeast Wisconsin and there is no federal aid?
There's an appeals process that we can do. Other than that, we would have to work with the resources that we have to provide as much assistance as we can.
Have you been receiving any requests from local governments, and how is the state assisting?
Yes, we actually started receiving requests from Milwaukee County on Sunday. Initially, the priority was making sure that the response, they had resources that they need for the swift water and high water response to make sure that life safety response needs were met. And so we assisted with deploying a couple of high water or swift water rescue teams on Sunday. And then they had requested our state incident management team. So we deployed our state incident management team to the Milwaukee County Emergency Operations Center on Monday. And they have been helping to organize the damage assessment process.
Really quickly, looking long term here, there has been talk with the Trump administration of eliminating FEMA. What type of impact would that have moving forward on a state like Wisconsin and situations like this?
It's difficult to tell, and it's difficult to tell right now what the future is going to look like with FEMA. I will just say that we rely on FEMA. We work with FEMA every day. We have FEMA personnel embedded with Wisconsin Emergency Management who provide support to us on a daily basis. We get training from FEMA. We get planning assistance from FEMA. So FEMA's role is not just during disasters. FEMA is an important partner for planning and preparedness as well.
Greg Engel, the Wisconsin Emergency Management Administrator, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for what you're doing right now for the state. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, coming up, the potential flood warnings to local and state government. But first, pushing back, the city of Madison and the new orders from the State Elections Commission. Madison City Attorney and Acting Clerk Mike Haas standing by next.